All right. Good morning, everyone. We will start with the Heart Sutra. I prostrate to the Arya Triple Gem, thus dear here at one time. The Bhagavan was dwelling in massive Vajras mountain in Rajagriha, together with a great community of monks and a great community of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Bhagavan was absorbed in concentration in categories of phenomena called profound perception. Also at that time, the Bodhisattva Mahasapa Arya Avalokiteshvara looked upon a very practice of profound perfection of wisdom and beheld those five aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Then through the power of the Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said this to the Bodhisattva Mahasapa Arya Avalokiteshvara. How should any son of the lineage train who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom? He said that, and the Bodhisattva Mahasapa Arya Avalokiteshvara said this to the Venerable Shariputra. Shariputra, any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom should look upon it like this, correctly and repeatedly beholding those five aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Form is empty, emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form. Form is also not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discrimination, composition factors, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, likewise, all phenomena are emptiness without characteristics. Unproduced, unceased, stainless, not without stain, nor deficient, not fulfilled. Shariputra, therefore, in emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no composition of factors, no consciousness. No eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no visual form, no sound, no odor, no taste, no object of touch, and no phenomenon. There is no I element and so on up to including no mind element and no mental consciousness element. There is no ignorance, no extinction of ignorance, and so on up to including no aging and death, and no extinction of aging and death. Similarly, there is no suffering, origination, cessation, and path. There is no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. Shariputra, therefore, because there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on the well perfection of wisdom. The mind without obscuration, without fear, having completely passed beyond error to reach the end point of nirvana. All the Buddhas who dwell in it 3 times also manifestly completely awakened to unsurpassable, perfect, complete enlightenment and reliance on the perfection of wisdom. Therefore, the mantra of the perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the mantra equal to the unequaled, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering should be known as truth, since it is not false. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is declared. Tayatam gate gate paragate parasamgate bodhisoha. Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasapa, should train in profound perfection of wisdom like that. Then the Bhagavan arose from that concentration and commended the Bodhisattva Mahasapa Arya Avalokiteshvara, saying, well said, son of the lineage, it is like that, it is like that. One should practice the profound perfection of wisdom just as you have indicated, even the Tathagatas rejoice. The Bhagavan, having thus spoken, the Venerable Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasapa Arya Avalokiteshvara, and those surrounding in their entirety, along with the world of gods, humans, asuras, and Gandharvas, were overjoyed and highly praised that spoken by the Bhagavan. Our prostrated gatherings of zucchinis in the 3 chakras who abide in the holy yoga of using space by a pulse of clairvoyance and magical emanation, looked after practitioners like a mother her child. Akasamara sasharara samaraya pe akasamara Akasamara sasharara samaraya pe Tayatam gate gate paragate parasamgate bodhisoha. But the teachings of the 3 supreme jewels possessing the power of truth, may inner and outer hindrances be transformed, may they be dispelled, may they be pacified, shintum koriye soha. May all negative forces opposed to Dharma be completely pacified. May the host of 80,000 obstacles be pacified. May be separated from problems and harmful conditions to Dharma. May all enjoyments be in accord with the Dharma. May there be auspiciousness and perfect happiness here and right now. 사시 보기 주시메도 리 시 니데 상게 미데오 기로구나다 신라슈 쇼이다 고르라나 멘달라가 니아다야
Sanje Chedan Soji Chonula Changshu Bardu Dane Jabsun Dagi Chushi Jeban Dagi Drolam Penshi Sanjin Drubar Shu Sanje Chedan Soji Chonula Changshu Bardu Dane Jabsun Dagi Chushi Jeban Dagi Roland Benji Sanjin Drubar Shu Sanji Chedan Soji Chonum La Chanshu Bardu Dani Gyabsun Dagi Chushi Jeban Dagi Roland Benji Sanjin Drubar Shu Dangi Tuzini Zoni Dawa Tongje Bambi Cher Dambi Chun Denze Kodam Jela Chanselo. Good morning. Happy Buddha's Day. Happy Lhabab teaching. Nganzo andadi samingmal Lhabab pubusung. Ani shirimgulum sendi roti goris ra.
We're currently going through the Unsurpassed Continuum as part of our study program. We go through those teachings during Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays.
Reda digi zudo di janzo mixing kri tuchen de tune leba inza. Zu di joja di ani doji tabi ne dun search. Tad kareris laundi ani sanji chu gendu sumki. Karsota. Yondi keper ngong di songdos. Titolaya ani kamda ani yondi chile chanchup set. O digil densin dün titolaya nganjok. Ani dunda trukri joshat sudi teres.
And so the main thing that we are looking at in this study module are 7 points which are said to be like Vajras. They're called the 7 Vajra points. And of them, the first 3 points are the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. And so we've been looking at the qualities of the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. Now, this presentation begins with these 3 of the 7 Vajra points. We have the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. And then we have point number 4, the element, the basic constituents or the element, then enlightenment, qualities, and enlightened activities.
Tinza di nganzo sanji chomden dige ta jinju hinada shemugoba sagdun de sanji bi chela ya donan chingi jin baina ta di ne dun di kechimbu shojre shas ra sagdun de nganzo chi sanji bi chela ya donan chingi sanji chomden dige jinju jungwene ani sanji chomden dige kusung tuksung yonden karimba di 인지민 신고에 저래도 왔으라 겹순 전날에 만전날에 산지 좀 된디 꾸순 툭순 그 연된디 간지임에디 인간 중 예버도 캔 거야 저래샤스.
Needless to say that this is something that we need to know as followers of the Buddha. But even if we just have a mere interest in the Buddha Dhamma, it is important to understand those 7 Vajra points, particularly for us as followers, as disciples of the Buddha, the Bhagavan. It is important to understand the qualities of body, speech, and mind, the physical, verbal, and mental qualities of Buddha. So then you can say that we can follow it up by going for refuge, but let's put that aside for the time being, regardless of whether we're going for refuge. The first step is recognizing the qualities of the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. And so the part of the text that we have been covering describes those qualities.
들다 상기기 산지점된 데다 고송 특성 그 연된데 야구 증원진 치마도나 아니 산지점된 데라야 다 도드메비 대바세야디 가부쇼렌도 아스라 백깔 가보라다 대디 매바이나 당원이 지금 산기바치 로 아니 산지점된 데 진주기 아니 로만센디 샤야디 백깔 가부쇼레샤스 디나노의 취업 백깔 가보레샤스 로 다비긴 아직 소수기다 리존에 지금 산기바 인슬람나들 랍초거데니야 대응우마 소수 셈 그때니 비 소수 셈다 아니 산기비 취니 아니 냠든 종야원 파 셈디바 산기비 취나라가 제야라 아니 산지점된 데래야 도드메비 대바치고도스 산지점된 데래야 도드메비 대바 용약이 자긴 쪼디 산지점된 데 고순 투순 그 연대시엔티 그래샤스.
And so we need to understand the qualities, to know the qualities of the body, the speech, and mind of the Buddha. And so if we understand them, or without understanding them, without understanding those qualities of body, speech, and mind, it would be very hard to develop faith, which is irreversible faith. For us as followers of the Buddha, as students of the Buddha, it'd be difficult to begin with students of the Buddha, or followers of the Buddha, or to become good one without understanding the physical, verbal, and qualities and mental qualities of the Buddha. It'd be difficult to be counted as a Buddhist follower without understanding those qualities. And of course, you might say, or you might think that, well, culturally, I'm Buddhist. I was born into a Buddhist culture, and therefore I'm Buddhist. It is possible that, in general, you will regard yourself as Buddhist in this way, but still, in terms of making a mind become completely mixed with the Buddha Dhamma, in order to a mind to become imbued or infused with the Buddha Dhamma, we need to have faith, irreversible faith, which is based on understanding those qualities, physical, verbal, and mental qualities.
그러다 진짜 산지점된 데기 고송 특성의 연된디 강한수 산지점된 데 무슨 제 두고 말아왔어. 산지점된 데 무슨 슈요나야 아니 간수기 레다 말롬세나만도 간지 조 레드게 온키 아니 간수 산지 무슨 제 두고요 말아왔어. 다 산지 무슨 쟁에디 산지 무슨 쟁에 직설에서는 야와참원 공부 야와참원 공부 산지 무슨 제진네 산지 무슨 군들라야 아니 추슈니 두세 아니 산지라야 기위신이 때네 로딩인기 기부담보 공기 아니 산지 고송 특성의 연된데 아니 말레버 콘도 추체니 아니 다 간딩 기넬이야 아니 대버침이 결함이 땡주도 송바레스 대다인자 공그 무스 비기 말레버 켄체니 아니 제셰비 송디 인테링한주 데려야 로존 치고야서 당연히 딘디지 로존 치바이나 테니 산지 고송 투승의 연된디 신토그레스 다 디레셔스 라 디진 당한주 디 아니 결함이 땡주 든지지 먼저 있다 챙기치고 그래서 뒤수들이 뒤수 개발진 될래야 다른 쇼인데 키바디 먼저 아니 땡지 내하고 쇼치로 아 지난 디그로 왔으라 다디
And so we do not see directly these qualities of body, speech, and mind, in the sense that to begin with, we don't see Buddha or a Buddha being actually present. And even if a Buddha, the Buddha or a Buddha would be actually present here, still on account of our own karmic obscurations, we will not see them as being an actual Buddha. And so one that did see the Buddha as Buddha and saw the qualities of body, speech, and mind of Buddha was Maitreya. And so Maitreya saw the Buddha in actuality, received teachings from the Buddha. And following that, following the insight into the physical, verbal, and mental qualities of the Buddha, in his abode, Tushita, he composed a treatise that is called the Unsurpassed Continuum, the Sublime Continuum, based on the teachings that he got from the Buddha. And so there is no object of knowledge or point of knowledge that Maitreya did not understand. And therefore, the composition of the Unsurpassed Continuum was based on complete knowledge, describing the qualities of body, speech, and mind of Buddha. And so we have been studying this manual, the treatise, the Unsurpassed Continuum. So when we think of studying the qualities of body, speech, and mind of Buddha, studying the qualities of the three objects of refuge, it's actually quite auspicious to do it today. It's very auspicious to do it today during this particular or important holiday within the Buddhist calendar.
다디치 그래셨으라 던져서 나간주 대리 게 대린 게 사제티고 간주 송고 인자 간주 디게 산지 구송 투송 게 연된 나니 아니 투기 연된 투 넘버 탐지 김비 이시 있어야지 이거는 디 연된 될이야 아니 치다와 또비 이시지다 진입의 김비 이시 니시 예비 나니 대린 간주 쉬어디 진입의 김비 이시 들으스라.
And so today, as we continue with the text in describing the qualities of body, speech, and mind of Buddha, we are now focusing on the qualities of the mind of Buddha. And as such, we first of all regard the Buddha's mind to be an omniscient mind. So we call it an exalted knower of all aspects. It is an omniscient mind. And as such, there are two types of knowledge that the Buddha's mind has. There's knowledge of reality and knowledge of diversity, of variety. So of these two, reality and diversity, today we're going to pick up from the knowledge of diversity.
데리다 지다와도 징예바 세디 지다와 세디 최남기라 당간 다 여비 다 아니 시지 최저라 시지 최게 시지 최디 다 여바드레스다 다 여바자 많이 봐 요출저라스다 요출기 요출 타두바티 야 지다와 세고레스 텔레 던덤 데바세고레스 텔레 춘이 세고레스 간지 디지그레스다 아니 디지그레스 딜레 디캠비글로델야 지다와 캠비 이시스.
And so the knowledge of reality is called in Tibetan, in language is more precise, the knowledge of things as they are, which means that, first of all, the Buddha's mind knows all phenomena. Not only knows all phenomena, all of them for a Buddha's mind become objects of knowledge, but particularly here, we identify the knowledge of the final mode of existence. So the final mode of existence is what we call ultimate truth, dharmata, or suchness, reality. And so of these two types of knowledge of reality, knowledge of diversity, the first one is the knowledge of the final mode of existence, reality.
So the concept that could let Hamboaji could share the the Kabupe is Kabupe, Kansan Sanji Jamden, the Wombozo Sangini, and Son Delia, one of the church and the Shindu Sabi church and near songs in a Karanzo Shan and Karanzo Kosamares. There's a negotiation song dead. But didn't you song yours?
So this knowledge of reality, we might be thinking that I want to find a simple way of getting my head around the knowledge of reality. Give it to me simply. But if we think that I want to get a simple understanding of reality, it's a very difficult expectation. You know, it's difficult to put it simply. After all, when we think of the Buddha Bhagavan's approach to teaching the Dhamma right after attaining the state of enlightenment, the Buddha said that he found the profound Dhamma, but fearing that it will not be understood, initially remained silent and did not teach it to others.
Ani chi labja chi kya ma to be ngone thani chu gi ne lu khain ba di ani khabdu thagaran song sha ba na khog me ba ta ani chi ma ko chama se ri chi ki sam la ya lokta ki la so ba dindi mang bu chi yong gu yo ba di phi u su se chi ne dini ani chamda shi yong go ye jin zen tel tu yo res.
And so the Buddha taught the four tenets, the four Buddhist schools of thought, and he taught that in a way that accords with the mentality of his followers, of his students. Which means that the Buddha did not teach directly the final mode of being, the final reality to everyone. Because first of all, not only there would be a danger of not understanding teachings on final reality, but even more than that, there is a danger that some will develop misunderstanding or wrong views with respect to the final mode of being. And therefore, the Buddha saw directly and in actual sense the different mentalities of his followers, of disciples. And in accordance with that, he taught four Buddhist schools of thought, four tenets.
Ta chingeba slaundi ra ta dinji ge nelu thamo de shinya la ya kargo dos le de zu thangbo so su semgam de zama chik soya ra chagdang ragba dinji ani meba ani chagdo pe shu uchi yora ta dinji kanji ani netsi ching ge samlo di ani nyong tang bai na ani sem di zama chago sares. Sem tsama chawandi sem de phi tesa jilaya ya u te thuya chi ro nelu thana ya sem te thuya chi yungor ta di nekapsu ani chunam ji nelu thana ya chi samna tang thoba na ani to thuya chi ha ko thuya chi yungor sa ani di ngol ya jingi bi chi ro nga zu ta jingi bi chi slaundi zu ani lendre kin ro da le gedi kin ro da la soba ani kiawang hasila soba o dindi gi nesulti ani chingi bichures o dikimbe yeshis ro.
So that's one area of knowledge of reality. Now the second one is called the knowledge of diversity. And so in teaching reality, the mode of being, which is describing profound reality, for developing an understanding of the profound reality, first of what we need to do is to clean our mind, to purify our mind. With a mind that is not clear enough, not pure enough, it'd be difficult to understand the final reality. And therefore, first off, we need to reduce the power of anger, attachment, and such in our mind stream. We need to purify our mind from those afflictive states of mind. To begin with, we need to reduce the power of these afflictive states of mind so that our mind will become clearer. And when the mind becomes clearer, we can attend the mind to the mode of being, to the mode of abidance. And so, therefore, the Buddha also has knowledge of diversity, which means within the knowledge of diversity, we have the things that we use to purify our mind. So, for example, the knowledge of karma, actions and the results, the knowledge of karma constituting what is a negative action, what is a positive action or virtuous action, the knowledge of past and future lives and so forth. These are included within the knowledge of diversity.
데레자다 다조 렌드가 거드레샤스라 다 렌드스 소 야부 치야데 렌드 세야데 비 산지 좀 된디 레게와데 미기위기 남자데 산지 좀 된디 쇠샤마이 뭐 무역 비기 아니 로단지기 돈다 렌드 송도 아스라 다 렌드도 톰바치 드로와이나 아니 장부당 덴바 로 렌드당 게비 레가시 렌드다 멘트비 레가시 해봐야나 아니 티 장부 멤버다 티 미기비 차와질이야 차그도스 로디 또지 아니 수술이야 지 참만지비 틈지 용야지 마도 센터데 끼와치만 남 티 매바인자 아니 렌드스 송치 세야디 진입의 김비 이시고 거든 소디 렌드스 송치야 되래샤스로
So mainly it is the knowledge of karma, actions and their results, so that we'd be able to have an excellent consideration of the way that we act, so that we'll be able to excellently guard our own karma. And so those teachings on karma, actions and the results is not something that the Buddha made up. So it's not that the Buddha created karma or made up karma. It is how things go, how it functions, how they function in terms of the actions that we perform and the results that they issue forth. And so if we understand that, we'd be able to act honestly and sincerely. We'd be able to act in a way that is truthful. Whereas if we act in a way that does not accord with karma, it means that we act in a dishonest way. We perform actions which are non-virtuous, which means that whatever we seek will not go right for us in this life or future lifetimes. And therefore, of the main points, or the main point that is included within the knowledge of diversity, the knowledge of variety or diversity, those two words are synonymous, is the knowledge of karma, actions and the results.
Tilda le gedisha undi, and le gedisha undi, le gewasingidi tanjishiwa najata, so the tambuderenda, the tamata said, on some of the ranchi nigalo, devan dugo, dungan dugo mare, and the rangi digi jichedo, shenlaya. Nuse tambayna, shenlaya kyongte bayna, shen gogor tambayna, tinti chawadi matang chawades, migi chawades. Ro teleteni canalaya, capsan yungumari, kyomato yomares. The rangi keben lutani, shenla pendo chetuna, that di any chokdukiware, tether matunaya, rangi keben karidrumna, druya can top down your can wingere, imbanaya, can rangi keben cheto, shenla kyontana, di and the tambu mares. Tichigimandos, Sanjam then the Tindi Zengis, the Ganchi Tambu Tanja, Chawa Karishina, Tambu Tanja, Keja Karishina, Tambu Tanja, Tambu Lamni, Tambu Lamni Karas, Tambu Company said, Jora, Tagaran Reshas, these are not Sanjam the Jinju in Slavandi, Tagaran Chin Drotuina, Sanjam the Jinju Reshas. Timachevina, any Ganzu Karmu Karipiki, any Chegu Karikanare, any Lugnamju Karitanare. Keje Karishia in the young Tunguma and a Tambuji Chematuna, Sanjam the Jinju Chagamundo Astra, only Jinju Chagamundo Astra.
And so the knowledge of karma, actions and the results, virtues and negative actions. And so to begin with virtuous actions, you can say we can pin them down to being honest. And the sense of honesty that we develop, through which our actions become virtuous actions, first of all, begin with the recognition of the equality of all of us as living beings. All of us are seeking happiness and well-being, and none of us is wishing for for pain or suffering. And so if we act in a way, if we act in ways in which we try to develop our own happiness and well-being, to bring about our own happiness and well-being in taking actions at the expense of others, deceiving others, destroying others, and so forth, those actions become non-virtuous actions. They do not bring benefit to ourselves and others. And so, contrary to that, when we think of virtuous actions, the best way to act in a virtuous way is to relinquish one's own benefits and to work for the sake of other living beings, for the benefit of others. But even if we cannot do that, at least in our personal behavior, the way that we act personally in order to bring about some degree of happiness and well-being for ourselves, we want to do that so that we do not act in a way that dispenses with other. We do not want our actions to be done at the expense of others. And therefore, if we try to secure our own happiness and well-being, our own benefits, while harming others, while taking advantage of others, it constituted a behavior, a conduct that is dishonest and therefore non-virtuous. And so we want to behave in a way that is utmost honest, with utmost honesty, to find the state, the source for utmost honesty. And so for us as followers of the Buddha, this is the genuine approach that we take to our practice. And so regardless of the clothes that we wear, right? So if we don't behave in a way that that is sincerely honest, but we wear the clothes or the robes of Buddhists, or we in the physical actions, we perform Buddhist gestures, so to speak, or the way that we speak is involved with, Buddhist terminology or Buddhist jargon. If we don't behave in a way that is honest, we are not sincere and real followers of the Buddha.
Terda, ngarang di samguyasar kadui na sanji ki kitaji ani kusumtu ki kechu yondian samwandi 당한주 제투야다 메투야 mambuyorasra sin ditolaya sin dinalaya ani 상계세디 저단 상계예요 상계에 dumba기 고다고 아니 계신부 쇼즈레스라 더 임바이나야 상계기 꼴레 가지게요레 아니 배 까와니 까와친 게르부터서 나올라야 직고치직 마인바 아니 그 깨워 망불라야 드니 콜레시 견치네 뭐부터가 상기비 남들 요래마도 아니 레라오지게 상기자비 남들 직접 있는 지혜요 말했어. 더 딩안주게 투더마도 세디 네트 로가지레는 당한 안주 투야로디 오늘 소소게 자와디 채나 상기기 진주 제투야디 전부 장제지야디. 산지 좀 된 잠블레페는 로니동 주게스 계시시고래 다 로카즈이나면 간지 산지 좀 된 잠블링난 미창슈 진바디 세워 미비 람을 경인 진바디 야자견 야탄바레스 딩안주기 메제나로래 제투그레스 디 제투 디 제바는 산지 진주 챈덴치 뭔가 들리도 상구였으라.
So at least this is the way that Geshe thinks about it, in terms of developing in our own mind, in ourself, in our own continuum, the qualities of Buddha, of body, speech, and mind of Buddha. We can look at the things that we can do and the things that we cannot do. Obviously, we have certain areas in this life where it's going to be difficult for us to undertake a certain practice. There are certain things that will be beyond our capacity to do. So there are things that we can practice and things that we cannot practice. Although in general, we say that there is an ability, a potential for us to become Buddha in this life. And it's important to recognize the capability of attaining the state of Buddhahood in this very life. Still, not downplaying the hardship that is involved with attaining the state of Buddha. We can think of, for example, how hard the Buddha himself worked. not only in his last life, but from life after life and after life. And so it is important to recognize that attaining the state of Buddhahood requires a lot of hard work. It's not easy at all. And so when we think of our capability at the present, whether we are capable of attaining the state of Buddhahood in this life or not capable of attaining it in this life, we can assess that, but that needs to also be done in consideration with, it's not going to be a simple matter. It's not going to be something that is easy. It requires a lot of hard work. And so we approach this practice as followers of the Buddha with a sincere and genuine approach, in taking into consideration that the one that we follow, the Buddha, who lived in India 2,600 years ago, also developed an honest approach to his practice, basing his practice on an attitude that is non-violent, non-harmful. And so we can also begin with that, developing an attitude that is non-violent, non-harmful. And so if we do take it up to begin with a mind that is sincere, we'd be able in the future to develop, to become a fully fledged Buddhist practitioner.
내가 뒤주주 고요로 주주 제가네 Lhabab 뒤중 오르 시고를 소인자 근데 측다 되는 즉 시작이 있어 진입은 준비시는 대단 넘버 송봉원 손도 수지 상기 바래 쇼당 숨지 수업된 게 끼마 되는다
진입을 캠바예신이
상기 바오스 상기는 지식 체제나 세지도 측대도 되네 측대도 냠도 아니 Lhabab 뒤중 게 오르 가랑 강템바치 관심하지 지슈인스.
And so Geshe was asked today to include in this session, which is normally taken up as a BP session, studying Unsurpassed Continuum, but it was asked also to combine it with some teachings for Lhabab Duchen. And so it's a good way to combine it together with the text. And so looking at, just a second, look at where we are in the text. It says here in page, so I'm looking now at the commentary of Gelsab Damarinchen, done together with Gavin Kelty and Sophie. And so in page 34 in the commentary, it says, the exalted wisdom of Buddha that realizes the variety of phenomena is the awakening into Buddhahood through the dark realization of those three.
상기는 지식 체전세 뒤와드 찍대.
No. 상기는 지식
체전세 뒤와된다.
No. And so it says then, upon enlightenment, what actions are performed?
그러다들이 다 상기기 시제 제다와다 진예바 캠비기 이시 검도기 아니 심전 탐지기 저도 상기바리스 다 상기니 아니 심정이 되 간다시기를 해야지 심정이 되 간다시기를 해야지 저당 저와디 트레샤스라.
And so we first off spoke of the development of knowledge. So the Buddha developed knowledge of all phenomena in their variety, and also the reality of all phenomena, the way that they exist. And so having attained the state of enlightenment, the question is, what actions are performed? In a sense that what actions does a Buddha do for the sake of living beings?
대리 Lhabab 뒤진라야 Lhabab 뒤진 세티 아니 산지 좀 된디 너무 좁아 산지 저기 jelaya 아니 다 라이율 다 숨주 작성 쓰자텔이야 페바레스 가르스나 가르치는 페바레스 라운디 산지 좀 된디 총니 돈다지 참니 공기 마염디 고모 조시 아니 숨주 작성라야 아니 깨워시바레스 대자 산지점데 산지니 당원시 또기 시온디 아니 마 숨주자성 내려 여바티 시치니 아니 마기 틀린사비 체도 아니 준주 또기 숨주자성 내려야 페니 다 다지담 디 나마무야다 간지 아니 샤부 십주 셰고 사지가 링라야 아니 숨주자성 내려 쉬니 마기 쯔비 숨주자성 내려 여비 아니 사이 도샤 남라 아니 추된 슈버레스 추된 슈버레스
So the question is, what actions are done for the sake of others? And so linking it up with Lhabab Duchen today, upon attaining the state of enlightenment, the Buddha went to a certain God realm that is called the realm of the 33. A week after the Buddha was born, his mother passed away, and she took birth in the God realm of the 33. Upon attaining to the state of enlightenment with his clairvoyance, the Buddha saw his mother's birthplace and then went to the God realm of the 33 and taught, using his miraculous powers, and taught the Dhamma there, not only to his mother, but also to the gods residing in that state of existence. And it was said that there are different accounts of that story, but he said that he remained there for 49 days teaching the Dhamma.
디 투서 테니 조 자부 수진이 무슨 다 자가르기 다 유지기 자보레 디즈베다 아니 미 직된 카운게다 도자망부슈 제 산지 gyurumu슈 만지오지 디고는 산지게다 니마 딱봐 소르지로 아니 돈다 딱봐다 산지고 쉐 아니 쉐여 산지 무슨 제여 다 드네 샤보시 쉐구스 지르라야 산지쯤에 아니 만지 산지 소마도디 아니 자부 수진이 무즈베다 아니 도자망부슈 지게 드네 산지 쇼지 트렌치 아니 파보 몽골기 포세게 아니 준트칭 다 gelontel야 응시된 응시 토보메게 gelontel야 게지트디게 아니 gelon티게 아니 산지 아니 술주자선 내려야 아니 마용구 주비 타이 도자나라 최대는 슈거레슬라운디 아니 자부 수진이 보고 쪼치네더니 몽골고 볼래야 꾸치 스캔 준트고 또기 페르토레 페치네 아니 산지 메일에 덴데시로치스 응아주 챙기도스 어두시온디게 아니 바보 뭔가 볼때 아니 숨주자선 내려야 페치네 아니 산지 메일에야 페브로치스 타이 율기 아니 하남 메일라 준트고 또기 페벨라야 강암문도스 민남 아니 라유라야 준트고 또기 페 용토고 말레스 인자 인지미 메일라마 페브로치스라디 아니 산지게 다가라 차지난치니 아니 메일라 페비 니모디 안 뒤에 데리츠고 그랬어. 그비세바니 저단 편다 그비세바니 데리츠고 그랬어. 대제 살리 팝세디 어 딜리지 토네 아니 산지게다 총럽디 숭구도스.
So the story told about Lhabab Duchen this particular day was that having attained a state of enlightenment and having started teaching the Dhamma to others, the Buddha assembled around him quite a few followers and students and disciples. One of them was the king patron Bimbisara. And so at the time of Bimbisara and the many students that Buddha had, there came a time in which the Buddha traveled to the God realm of the 33, which means that he was nowhere to be seen in the human realm. And so he had many disciples at the time, and he vanished from that human realm. He did not teach the Dhamma. People did not see him at the time. And so they greatly missed him. One of the Buddha's former students was Mudgalyayana. And Mudgalyayana at that point has developed those strong powers, those strong feats. And so he was approached by King Bimbisara, who asked Mudgalyayana to use his miraculous feats to locate the Buddha. Mudgalyayana also developed clairvoyance. So he saw that the Buddha was at that time residing in the God realm of the 33, teaching the Dhamma there. And so he was asked to go to speak to the Buddha as an envoy, asking the Buddha to come back to this human realm to teach the Dhamma. For those like the Buddha or Mudgalayana had those miraculous feats that enabled them to go between different realms, but most human beings don't have those miraculous feats. So for them to receive teachings from the Buddha would be only if the Buddha came back, would be only possible if the Buddha came back to the realm of humans. And so they approached the Buddha, requested him to return to the realm of humans, and he agreed. And so his day of return to the human realm is what we call Lhabab Duchen, often celebrated in the 22 of the 9th Tibetan month.
Yes, the Sanji Jamdin de Hayu Dushanam Suzuki Mag Zubi and then Hayu Dushanam Shani Muyula Pevni and me Dushanam Layata Karanambari Islamdi and it should and Bashit. Kanji San Gini Sumji Tenzayadi Sanji Chut and Reshas. Hayu Shani Muyula Pevni Minamlaya and it pig Tichiadian Chut and Reshas. Then the Sangigi Chut and Bashik Tony Sumjing Tun Zegores, the Sumjing Tun Zegores. Then the Ganzu Karsam Dangores lady, Suzu Mizidi Tunda Dembach Mizidiabu Ching Sambana, and the Sangig Chuti, Jan Chuti, Yamlin Chivana, and the Mizik Tunda Yakshu de, and the Sangi Jesu Jimmy, Jene Yakshu de. Lhabab teaching Gita, teaching Sunzi Yakshu de, and the Chunamda Chiadi, Tireshas, Tireshas.
So the Buddha, we said that the Buddha traveled to the God realm of the 33 in the form of a Devaputra or a male god, or kind of you can say a male son of the god, so to speak. He taught the Dhamma to his mother. He taught the Dhamma there to his mother and other gods. Then he came back to this human realm and again taught the Dhamma. And so when we think of the activities of the Buddha, they're solely revolving the teaching of the Dhamma. And so when we think of, again, what activities are performed, if we go back to the question that is posited by Geshe Dhammarinchen in his commentary to the Unsurpassed Continuum, when we speak of the Buddha's activities, what activities are performed? Well, teaching the Dhamma for the sake of sentient beings, benefiting others through teaching the Dhamma. And so when we think of that, and then subsequently the attitude that we take with respect to relying upon the Buddha, we study the teachings of the Buddha and putting them into practice through recollecting the Buddha. And so particularly today, if we think of what would be the best way to recollect the Buddha, the best way to recollect the Buddha in this day, Lhabab Duchen, would be to a best ability to practice the Dhamma purely.
The church is Launigi. Gachimbu shoji, Chitanga Sanji Chudi, Gachibu, things of shoji, Chagoras. That pig that Gachi, the things of shoe, dependent that Chanju Sam that no many topic sheriffs. And Dinji Tolaya, and the two some Gachimu Shema Tuainaya. Tanji Kondushiva Nanshinki, Tambu Tanjanchi, Chavakarichivana, Tambu Tanjan Chetuan, Shenlaya Manavachik, Susu Tankar Chegona Cheni, T Shenlaya Manavachin Drovina. Dear Sanji Chureshas, and yes, on the dear Sanji Chureshas, Timodo Susuchik Poch, Kibu here to Shenla no Penapen Kachinachisam, Namitan and Roshavana D. And did Chubaremandos, did Tundrus Busin Sunjeni, Rangi Digi to Chawachedi, Butromatsunjan Chetudos, Dinganzu Mixing Tone, Kijuski, cause
Busin.
Busin, and some Chetudos, they think why in this reshas. Tagan did some was done, Lamsan the Checho took Martin, I think some was done in the Kali, Kanjin Jotaya Talaya, Bebaina. and deep mean namchureshas. This anji we chew and rotanchireshas.
제가 무슨지 참아제 두 그랬으나 무슨 제도에
무슨 속에 코란주 기부용의 제도 내가 제도 그랬어.
And so we said that we need to practice, and then what we need to practice can be explained in relation to the states of the extensive path and also the profound path. So it can be practiced whatever we practice can be done extensively in relation to the level of the profound, in relation to the states of the extensive path. But the summation of them is the man of enlightenment and wisdom that realizes emptiness. But still, even practicing the man of enlightenment and wisdom that realizes emptiness is quite difficult. So we do our best. Even if we cannot do that extensively, at the very least, what we can do in our personal practice is to make sure that we act in a way that is honest, that we do not harm others. If we can, we want to be of benefit to others, but if we cannot be to benefit to others, at least we want to act in a way that is not harmful, in a way that is honest. And that attitude is an attitude that will bring about, that will secure our own happiness and well-being. And when we look at the ability of ourselves to work for the sake of our own well-being, it's not limited only to ourselves as human beings. Also, other living beings can do that. Even insects, you could say, can take actions for their own welfare, for the sake of their own well-being. And so when we think of how do we act in order to engender, in order to bring about our own happiness and well-being, it is through, to begin with, to be honest in our approach to ourselves and others, to act in a way that is not harmful to other sentient beings. So this is something that is completely within our reach. We can do that.
Terda nganzu segor sanjibi chulaya ani simjata which is namkita da nyambi simjata tamchi sungor dizu labchimbu shujras. The dinganzu gi kabgala lola mashon roch. Ngi misidinal da simjata tamchi tenji da tachi Tugre samsam rajita kalakabu shoyorasra. The sosu kari che tugislana. Sosu nyankor la yebi. Sosu kand nebigi sabsho. Ti nyankor la yebigi. And the nyankor la yebigi. Tachi socha samala maduna. Ti nyankor la yebigi. Mitsola pendo che tuyag nibaji. The yorwas the ra. This song got the ngando dindi samguyes. The di susu hotaba the cheguri samsam raj. Ra. Kulung dikeni rodegis. Tayan pigi kachi su charo koran chegmara. Su kejekore shero cheg machina pa pendo ches ke mandoas. Ra injun karan su shongi kara pendo chegisna nan rogumaras. Yan pa bi go dongan rowaina. Chigina zongan juge nyenga yoras. Inan susul tug sombaina. Oni susul rewa jab sombaina. Horta barta chedida Manzu lengi reshas, manzu sanjibi, chomdendigi jinju jungoni, da yakshu de tireshas. Madi samgudos ra.
And so the attitude that we develop is seeking to benefit all sentient beings that extend to the reaches of space, that we call it that equal the expense of space. And so when we think of being able to do that, our actions, our activities will become very powerful. But often we find it very overwhelming, thinking that how will I be able to be of benefit to others? We can't really get our head around how would it be possible for us as individuals to be capable of doing something for the sake of all sentient beings. And so the way that Geshe thinks about it is to begin, first of all, in short, with the people that are around us. This is where we start, with those who are around us, living in the same place around us, those that we come across on a daily basis. And so, although we speak about for the benefit of all living beings, well, let's begin with those around us, living beings around us, human beings and such, and look at the ways in which we can be of benefit to them. As much as we can, we want to be of benefit to those around us. And so this is the motivation that we bring into our practice for the benefit of others, beginning with those around us, those that we come in contact with. And so when we then think of being of benefit to everyone around us. Of course, there are those that might not necessarily want to hang out with us or communicate with us, those that prefer to remain by themselves, not necessarily talk to others. So you might be thinking, how do I act for the sake of those living beings? Now, if I approach them, they might not want to actually talk to me. So if I want to benefit them in teaching the Dhamma, I have to force them to do that. Maybe I can whack them in order to be able to draw them in so that I'll be able to work for their sake. Well, of course, that's not going to happen. It's not going to work out. This is illegal within the system that we follow. We might end up in prison. So the type of attitude that we bring into our motivation, may I be able to be of benefit to others, beginning with those around me, is that if I come across those people, if I meet them and they express a certain wish, they ask me to help them out, I will do it to my best ability. So this is the type of attitude that we develop. I will try to do my best to help them out if they ask me.
It is a Sanjom the Takanji, Larian Zambalin, that and Layunima Pevini, Sonya di Sumjing Tenzea di, the Chutayan Bashigresas, Chu Tony, Sumjing Tenzea Yagachik, Zawini Yosamares. Chu Tony Pentokazu, Stretubainaya, Zoya Meba. Zoya Meba Mase, a bedi Nubadamazuna, Kondu Pedrech. 만족이 탐에비 심전이야 수수 관심이 최대제바나 수수 최대 약을도 뷰타를 줘야 마음을 줘야죠 저해지면도 다들 약시 그래서 디 심전 탐지근 되고 공투야지 라 간지 고급지라와 있나 심전 탐지근 되고 공투야지 그래서 디마도 안족이지 아니 벤저도다 디치 카제도 딘지 돈이 딘데 현라 편도시야디 약부쇼르 되네 디 심전 탐지근 되고 공세야디 용야 자원이는 뭔도스 용고 말았어. 그래서 산기게 아니 투 지위 이식이 돈에 심진 그 된세야디 아니 최대한데 약시 인자 나는 존냠도 최고 돌아야지 롤링도치 아니 나는 관심받이 아니 미싱이 멜라파 제바이나 아니 산기 오늘 단계 투니서레스 니선으로 투니서레스 띵안줄 하부 뒤진기다 송지게 아니 things, right?
And so in thinking of the Buddha descent from the God realm of the 33, he descended for the sake of teaching the Dhamma. And so to benefit others, if you think of what can I do for the benefit of others, thinking of the way that the Buddha acted, there's nothing better than teaching the Dhamma to others, in that you provide others with an inexhaustible source of benefit. Also, the ability to be of benefit to others grows and increases through teaching the Dhamma to others. It has the ability to satisfy the needs or the hopes, the expectations of all living beings. And so when we think of other ways in which we can be of benefit to others, we could make money donations or offerings, we can support others financially, we can distribute food and so forth. And of course, those things are benefiting others. But it is hard to do only that and benefit everyone, to satisfy the hopes and expectations of everyone using only those physical actions. The way to satisfy the wishes or the expectation of everyone ultimately would be through teaching the Dhamma to them. And so thinking of how the Buddha acted, motivated by great compassionate love, he taught the Dhamma to others so that we follow our practice in thinking that in the future, this is something that I will be able to do. This is something within my ability. And so to do so, I myself need to become Buddha. And so if this is the way that we proceed in a spiritual practice, Geshe reckons that it will also affect our happiness and well-being. So this is what Geshe wanted to include today for Lhabab Duchen, the descent from the gods of the 33. Ani tanda di
garden and Bachuni tilda. Damachini chara.
그래서 gansu ganeladi zabachuni jump menlam and
아니 군조 진행도. 야.
딜라야 말마길라.
하면서 군조 tradition.
All right. And so we will soon go down to the garden and do some prayers in front of the tanka. And so Rosie, you're the boss, the big boss. And so we're going to recite the aspiration to Maitreya. We're going to recite a prayer for the 12 deeds of the Buddha, in praise of the 12 deeds of a Buddha, and the sutra recollecting the 3 jewels. Do we do everything down there, or do we want to do some here and some down there? You're the boss, so you can tell us what to do. Whatever we want to do. All right, let's go down and do it at the garden. That's an executive decision. All right, so Rosie, as far as I understand, we don't have copies of the sutra recollecting the 3 jewels in English. And so maybe what I suggest is maybe we'll do here the recitation of the sutra recollecting the 3 jewels. I can present it on the screen. Geshe can also do, and for the people at home, Geshe, if you want, you can do it.
Sure.
We do have copies. We do have copies. All right.
Sorry.
So it's not here. La. All right. We'll do everything at the garden. Shut up, Yaki. Sorry? Yeah, we do the sutra recollecting the 3 jewels, aspiration to much. I don't know. Let's go to the garden and see. You're leading it. Tambungatso jumping munlam, zebachuni, dodi. Yeah, so first we'll recite down there the sutra recollecting the 3 jewels. Then the 12 deeds of the Buddha and Maitreya, aspiration to Maitreya. All right. So thank you very much. And we will have no tutorial today, as Geshe did not teach any new material. And so no tutorial today, but we'll have tutorial tomorrow.